Hello, darlings, it is I, Erin, and the lighting is awful and I'm blurry, but that's okay because I'm not doing a tutorial or anything. I'm just doing like a response video to two different videos that are related. So three. I watched Joey Garceffa's video about him watching Shane Dawson's video, and then I watched Shane Dawson's video about him coming out as bisexual, and then I watched Dion Yorkie's video about his reaction to Shane Dawson's video. So this is my reaction to all those three videos, and I think that people don't understand that coming out stories are not the same. They're not the same for everybody. Like, oh, my friend just came out as gay, blah blah blah, like whatever. Or my friend just came out as this and that, and blah blah blah. It's like, okay, cool, but those stories are totally different. That's why people should still keep telling their coming out stories, because they're all different. People had different struggles, internal, external forces, etc., etc. And so I just thought I would do my coming out story, because I've been out to myself since as long as I can remember. I never denied that to myself. I always knew I was attracted to girls, and I always knew I was attracted to guys. There was no question in my mind. It was not even, I didn't even feel guilty about it at first, because I didn't even have words for it. It was before I even had any sort of education that taught me this is right, this is wrong, this is sexuality, this is not. It was before that. And I'm not sure everybody maybe develops sexually that early. I don't know, maybe I'm weird that way, but because other people realize it at different ages, but I cannot remember a single time in my youth where I was not in fact attracted to all genders. So I guess the first time that I felt like I needed to come out was in high school, because I realized there was a word for that, and I was like, holy crap, I'm bisexual, that's a thing. And I had been in churches and had a huge guilt complex issue with thanks parents when I was growing up and things like that, so I felt guilty about everything. Like, do not even take something like a penny from someone because you're about to die. Like, don't even think something wrong, because you're gonna go to hell. You're gonna suffer on earth before you die, and then you're gonna go to hell. So I was pretty crazy. So anyway, in high school, I realized there was a word called bisexual, and because I never even, obviously I had known what gay was before, and I was like, I'm not gay. Like, I like guys. I like girls too. But that's not an issue. I had no concept of this in my head. Maybe I grew up really, sheltered. I don't know. But in high school, I realized that there was this, ooh, I'm throwing my nail polish. I realized that there was this thing called bisexuality, and I was like, oh, that is what I am. And in high school, that's when my chronic mild depression started. So I was having a lot of issues, etc., etc. And I was like, I always knew that if I told my parents what was bothering me, it always made me feel better. Like, my guilt issues were just absurd. Like, I would tell them all sorts of weird things, like, I thought about punching Billy in the face, and then I would feel better because I didn't do it, but I told him about it. So, like, I don't know, does that mean something? Whatever. Anyway, so my dad and I went out to lunch together, and I said, Dad, I have something very important to tell you. And he was like, oh, what is it? I was like, I am bisexual. I like girls and boys. And do you know what he said to me? He said, it's a phase. And just thinking back to it, like, it's so cliche that somebody will react that way. That's kind of hilarious. But it really affected me, and I didn't want to tell anyone, really, after that, because I thought, well, if my dad does not accept me as who I am, and he was really cool at the time, like, I thought he was pretty awesome, then I was like, how's anybody else going to accept me? He loves me for who I am, but apparently not all the way. And he was telling me it was a phase. And, like, all I can remember, I don't know if I said this out loud or not, but in my head, my immediate response was, but I've been in love with Harlequins since I was, like, 2. Like Harley Quinn from Batman. And Poison Ivy. And so, like, I don't think I said that out loud, but it was just, like, a inner affirmation, like, yes, you are really bisexual, because obviously you have lots of crushes on guys that you've been talking about, like Chris Baker. If you're watching this, I had a huge crush on you and I thought we were getting married and having blonde blue-eyed babies. Anyway, but I also had some serious crushes on some girls that I didn't even talk about, because I didn't realize you could talk about that, or that that was a thing. So I remember that day very well. My dad told me it was a phase. We were at Bugaboo, which is a steakhouse, eating delicious honey brown bread or something like that with the cheese, not the cheese, with the butter on it. And we always like fought over the butts of the crust. It was so good. Anyway, he told me it was a phase, and I didn't tell anyone else. And then I went to college. I think this was when I was in my junior year, because that's when my depression started, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's when I was trying to say it. And then I went to college, and I didn't hide it. I didn't say it to anyone, unless they asked, but I didn't hide it. And I think that was really freeing. Like, very few of my friends knew. I don't think they thought it was a big deal, because I was very interested in guys. And I've always been interested in guys. Like, just because you're bisexual doesn't mean you're not interested in guys. Like, I think I'm one of the weird bisexuals who's, like, right in the middle, like, equally attracted to both genders, or any gender, without any, like, that I love penises. I love vaginas. It's all good. It doesn't bother me. I love it. If I love you, I love your genitalia. That's all there is to it. I think that's the real way. Also, boobs are awesome, and I don't think anyone can disagree with that. Regardless of your sexual stance, boobs are awesome. I mean, why else are you spending like $6 trillion on Victoria's Secret bras if boobs are not awesome? You're not trying to make them look extra awesome. Just saying. And then guys, even gay guys, I think, probably think boobs are awesome. I mean, that's how they drank their milk when they were babies. Anyway, I don't know, maybe that was really rude. I take it back if I offended anyone, but that's just my personal theory, is that boobs are generally awesome. So, in college I didn't really hide it from anybody, but I was dating this guy Dan for a really long time. I dated him for 4.5 years through college and then into grad school. And then we were in a long distance relationship. It was like an 8-hour drive between the two of us. So, and I didn't have a car, so he would drive, but he would drive to see me every weekend, and I absolutely loved that. And I felt so special, and he would come down and treat me like a queen, and it was really good. So I said, I'm going to grad school somewhere closer to you. Unfortunately, he lives in Waterbury, Connecticut, which is kind of like a gross place. Sorry if you live there and you love it, but it's kind of run down, and there's not a lot of stuff to do. It's kind of not my place, not where I want to be. So I applied to a bunch of schools in the area. So I applied to UConn, I applied to Yale, I applied to some schools in New York, upstate New York, and then I got into a bunch of different schools. I got into NYC in their master's program, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted a PhD program. So I got into the only PhD program I got into was at Albany Med, which is in Albany, New York, which is literally 2 hours away from Waterbury, Connecticut. I mean, compared to 8 hours, that's that's like a jaunt. You could do that in a day and back again if you really wanted to. Considering you drove 8 hours in a day, and then 8 hours the next day to get back home. So I was like, this is good. You know, this is the college I want to go to. It's a good program. It has the stuff I want to learn in it. It has the lab I want to be in. The city's kind of cool. It's not Waterbury. So I was like, yeah, this is where I'm going to go. So I moved into Albany, and I went to college there, and my depression just totally took over. And I know that this probably put a huge spike between me and Dan at the time. But honestly, after dating someone for 3 years, and you knew they were depressed the whole time, like I was getting therapy and things like that. I wasn't on drugs yet, but I was having like issues, and he knew about it, and he was very supportive. You know, after you do that, and I moved to Albany where I don't know anybody, and my depression is just going completely nuts, and I call you in the middle of the night telling you that I think I'm going to kill myself, and you don't come, to save me, or I mean, not that I expected somebody to save me, but you'd think if somebody loved you that they would, like, stay on the phone with you, or, like, come to where you are, or call the police and say, hey, this girl's gonna cut her wrists, like, go there. Something, right? Something. No, nothing. I called him, and we talked for a little bit, and I was like, I'm gonna be fine. Lies. And, and he never came. And I almost institutionalized myself. And that was when I realized, like, this relationship's not going anywhere. I love him, and I've loved him for so long, but he's not willing to change with me. He's not willing to be as serious as I needed at the time. So, met this other guy, and maybe kissed him, and then broke up with Dan. Lots of guilt, lots of crazy times. I told you I have a really big guilt complex. I don't think that technically counts as cheating, but it was like the intent was there. Like, yeah, I'm leaving Dan for you, kind of thing. So I did that, and so I was dating this guy, and he was awesome, but not awesome at the same time. Very confusing. And I broke up with him like 3 times before I really broke up with him, and I moved to Dallas. And I was like, bye, I'm moving to Dallas. And then, but between the last 2 times, I guess, I decided that I was a lesbian. I had given up on guys. Fuck that. I'm gonna find myself a lady who knows what I'm going through, and we're gonna date, and it's gonna be awesome, and it's not gonna be serious, but it's gonna be fun, and all that. I don't know, I didn't, like, rebel against the male race because they had screwed me so hard. And I did. I went to, like, lesbian clubs, and I would go dancing and, like, meet the ladies and buy them drinks and all this stuff that I thought, like, masculine women were supposed to do. And I had my hair cut really short because I was a dyke, obviously. And I was just kind of funny talking about it because, like, I don't know, how do you transition from being mostly straight to actually bisexual without going through a phase where you're mostly lesbian? I don't know, maybe people do it, but I did that for sure. And then I had a friend with benefits, and he was awesome. I love you, Alex. Mwah! You helped me through so many problems, and it was really good. And we watched To God, the Devil, and Bob, which is a great TV show, and everybody should watch it, or else do it. Anyways, and so when I'm moving to Dallas, I think that's when I decided I needed to tell people I was bisexual, because I was like, you know what, I'm gonna date a girl next. I'm gonna date a girl. It might not be serious, but I'm really gonna do it because I'm bi, and I should be able to date a girl if I want to. And so I was, like, very steadily pursuing this concept of dating a girl. And so I told my mom, and I told my sister. My mom was like, oh, cool. I told her when she was drunk. It was very, very convenient. I told my sister in the car. She thought I was dying. She thought I was going to tell her I had cancer or something. I was like, Julie, I have something very important to tell you. She's like, never say that again before you tell me something that's not that important. People like, I thought it was important. You overthink things in your head, and then the people that actually love you are just like, so cool, awesome, it's good, do what you do. And so, yeah, so I lucked out there. And most of my friends from college already knew because I wasn't hiding it at all. Like, if they asked me about it, I would, or if we had, like, a conversation where that came up, I'm like, I'm bi. And they were like, oh, cool. No worries, it's a pretty liberal arts college, it's all good. So yeah, so I came out to them, and my dad already knew, even though he was in denial for like 10 years. Whatever, Dad. And so I moved to Dallas, and I got on a lesbian dating site. But I put myself on as bi, so it's not like I lied. I didn't lie, I didn't say I was a lesbian. I said I was bi, put my background on there, etc., etc. And, like, I was looking for a fun girlfriend. Nothing serious, just someone to go date. And I found this girl, Grace-Dotado, and she had, like, a paid account, which was awesome because that meant we could talk. without me having to pay. And I was very poor at the time, obviously. I moved from Albany to Dallas, and I just had a little beginning of a part-time job, and it was not, I mean, it was sort of full-time, but nothing very special. And I just wanted to meet people and have fun and have a girlfriend, I guess. And so we started talking because A, she had a prepaid account, or she had a paid account, so we could talk. And B, we were both from New York, which was crazy. Technically, she's from the Philippines, but we had both lived in New York at the same time. She was in Buffalo, and I was in Albany. How weird. Anyway, and so we went on a first date, and she came wearing this, like, salmon and pink striped, like, grandma sweater. Like, seriously, how old are you? You're like an old lady, like a librarian. And, but she was so nice and sweet and funny, and she laughed at my jokes, and she was totally cool. And I accidentally texted her when I was trying to text my friend. I was texting my friend, like, she's not a creeper, everything's fine. But I texted her instead. I got back to the table, and she was laughing. She's like, I'm not a creeper. I was like, how did you know that? She's like, you texted the wrong person. Like, oh my god. Anyways, and we've been together ever since, and now we're getting married. Yeah, that's married. Very pretty. It's from David Yurman. It's sterling with Pave diamonds, and it says together ? And her phone number, and then her wedding ring is gonna say forever with my phone number on it. Because when we go to the restaurants, people are like, "Are you paying together or separate?" I'm like, together forever. Deal with it. And I love this girl, and I would have found her if I hadn't just been like, fuck guys, I'm gonna go date a girl. I never would have found her because I wasn't pursuing that part of myself, even though I wasn't hiding it. But I don't know. I just like, why put yourself through the stress of being in a homosexual relationship if you don't have to? Because I was attracted to guys, so I can do whatever I want. But guess what? You love who you love. And the stress has nothing to do with it. And honestly, I think I'm less stressed than she is in this situation. So I just tell everybody, like, oh, my fiance is totally awesome. She's a girl. She's definitely a girl. And I'm, like, so proud that she's mine. My girl. Like, I'm the luckiest lady that ever existed. We fight, we bicker, but like overall, we just love spending time together. Even when we're bickering, we like to spend time together. It's absurd. Like, we talk everything out, and we solve problems together, and we spend good time together. She loves me for who I am without any falsities. Like, there's no veil between us. Like, she knows who I am, and I know who she is. And there's no, like, secrets. She knows all the secrets that I've ever kept, I've told her. And it's just so good that I can just be me, and she loves me who I am. So, anyways, so that's my coming out story. It took almost 10 years to come out to everyone. But I did try very early on. And so just be true to yourself. Doesn't matter if anyone else believes you. Be true to yourself, because that's the way you're going to fall in love with someone who really matters. Who really is there for real. Like, that's how you find the story about romance, of being true to yourself. They always say you have to love yourself before you can love anybody else. And it's true. Like, how can you love another person if you're busy hating yourself or who you are? You can't. So just love who you are and accept it. And people will accept you or they won't, but it doesn't matter, because inside you accept you. And that means you're ready to find true love, I think. Or some other things along the way, and then true love. And so yeah, so thank you, Shane Dawson and Joey Garceffa and Connor Franta and Dion Yorkie. Thank you all for coming out on YouTube and talking to people about the process, because it is a process. We live in a heteronormative society, but I dream one day people will not assume you're straight. People assume that you're you.